It's worth every penny, honestly, to spend. I never regret any of the money I've spent on having a professional website.
You don't control your presence on Instagram. Ultimately, Instagram controls you, right?
Yes.
And so that makes it even more important to have a website, because that's something that you are 100% in control of.
I don't just like to just post. I want it to be meaningful. I want it to be something that's important to me, that I genuinely want to share with other people.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever the case may be in your part of the world. This is the Emerging Artist Podcast. I'm Scott Markowitz, and of course, I'm here with Shiree Ingram. And today we're going to be talking about the importance of a good website.
Yes, a good website is very important. Going back about 25 years ago, that probably was the most expensive, most important investment I made in my career. And actually, when I started in Montana, got incorporated there, worked there for several years, and I had my website built there. And when I was looking to move to Florida, the first designer I was going to work for that had a home down here, that was the first thing she asked me, is if I had a website up. And thankfully I did. It actually had only been up probably a couple months. And back then it was a lot to create a website, Matt, and nobody had cell phones that took pictures. And so everything that my web designer had photography from his own travels around the world. And back then, old world finishes, faux finishes, that was really popular. I don't know how all he did it, but he made my website look amazing. And back then, I saw the importance of me not doing my own website. That's just not in my wheelhouse of interest. And I saw the benefit of paying the right person to do the right job.
Yes. So let's step back a little bit, because you mentioned 20 plus years ago when you first had your website currently does not look the same way that it did when your designer first made it, right? Because the things that make a good website have evolved also over time, right? It's important to have a modern website that people can go to that will recognize immediately this person is up to date. They decide within seconds if you're a professional that they want to work with or not based on the website. So talk a little bit about how your website has evolved and changed and what you think the most important components of your website currently are.
Throughout the years, I think this is the fifth time, actually, my website has been rebuilt. And there's such a huge contrast of difference between the beginning, even up until maybe about 5 years ago. Once I would have the website built and it was functioning properly and all that, it just sat there. A catalog, if you will, of just pictures and some information about me and my background and schooling and finishes. And that was basically all that the website entailed. So let's just step forward to where we are now. And James Council of Council Media, he takes care of my website now. He pretty much spends every month, he spends time on my website, and we're constantly changing it. We just changed out some of the colors. We were using purple, now we're using aqua color. So we're changing and updating the website. We're adding new pictures of work. We just added some artwork, flamingo artwork. We added that. We added some mural artwork to the mural portfolio. Along with that, we have teaching videos that are now up. Golden Paintworks, we just produced 2 videos that are now out for the public, watched on there. We also have other teaching videos that link to our YouTube that are on there. We also have articles that have been published in. There's just a lot more content and attention that needs to be given to the website on a regular basis, more than it ever used to be. And I think just because the fast pace of our technology, the world, things are rapidly changing all the time. The only thing I provide are the photos and my input and wording, things like that. But I always want constructive feedback from a lot of different people and from yourself as well, because I want to present my best foot forward in what I have showing out online.
Yeah, I think it's so important to have a trusted person to be able to work with the website also.
Yeah, that's how I know him too.
To me, he's fantastic. And he understands that the way that the websites have evolved, he understands that websites are no longer about the experience that the person visiting the website has. And
right.
It's more about their needs and their desires, and can you as a business owner fulfill their needs?
And we want the website experience to be a very good consumer experience. We want it to be easily understood. I know myself, if I look at a website and there's a lot of wording and a lot of content, I find myself just not wanting to really even deal with it or look at it at that moment.
Yeah.
And I'll maybe revisit it later at another time. So we've tried to keep things very streamlined and user-friendly. And so far, the feedback has been really good. And you talk about Jimmy. I think Jimmy is very unique and very special in that regard, because I have had other website builders that have not been reliable, let's say, and have not been consistent, have not even finished the whole work on my website where it's actually functioning well. And I think that's a very frustrating experience for a customer. If they go to your website and parts of it, links are broke, they want to look at a picture, they want to enlarge it, and they click on it and they can't see it. And those things don't really communicate to the general public.
Yeah.
So I think it's really nice to be very careful who you choose. And maybe you're somebody that can create your own website. I am not one of those people. How about you?
Definitely not. I think there's a lot of people that are listening to this right now, Shiree, that are perfectly capable of making their own website. And they're perfectly capable of designing a beautiful website and a functional website. That doesn't mean that they should.
I agree with that.
There's the economics. So if you don't have a budget to hire somebody, is it better to have a website that you design yourself versus pay somebody and have a website that works well? I'm not so sure I know the answer to that. I think you might be better off not having a website at all for a little while until you start making some money and show that you have a viable business. What do you think about that idea?
I agree with you on that. I would just save the money, set it aside, and spend the money to have a nice website done. And that has proved to be very beneficial for me business-wise. It has gotten me work. Recently, I was telling you, I have a teaching client. They had researched on Google and had come across the website because we were able to put very specific words in to help generate the teaching and coaching of faux artistry and all of that. And they loved the website, but they did mention that they were impressed with the fact that I didn't do it myself and that I had hired a website builder to create that. And then that also told them something about the coaching, that this person is looking at developing a career in faux finishing and designer finishes. So that gives a little bit of credibility to that you put forth that. And like I say, I spend money every month on updating the website.
Yeah, when you can go to a business and see that there is somebody who's properly curating their website and properly generating an experience for them. It's very obvious when you go to a website and that the business owner created it themselves, or maybe their nephew created it. You can really tell pretty quickly, and it turns you off. In today's marketplace, there's so many options, and that is not helping if you have a website that's not up to par. It's got to be clean. It's got to be modern. It's got to progress logically from the top of the page that you first land on down through the entirety of the landing page that you visit. It has to have easy navigation. it has to have logical navigation, and it has to demonstrate how to continue the interaction with you. It needs to demonstrate like what the next steps are going to be in a simple and easy way to follow. So if you can't generate that yourself, then it's better to just wait. But with that being said, is it necessarily a big expense? How much of your marketing budget would you say goes to the website?
My experience is around at even 25 years ago, I think I paid $5,000 to have my website built back then. And I think for a simple website, you can still pay around that amount. Things change when you start adding video content, when you start taking credit cards for artwork, or specifically on mine, I offer packages of 3 different types of courses that you can do online, hour, 3 hour, 5 hour, and you can pay for all those. In that payment process, there is a calendar that goes with that as well. And so basically it generates this calendar that you get to choose your date and time slot. All those components certainly increase the price of the building of your website as well.
Yes. So it all depends on where you're at in the business game and what your budget is and how much you can allocate towards marketing and towards website design and everything else. But certainly both of us would recommend that you get it done by a professional.
It evolves. I didn't have everything all set at the same time. Things changed when you and I started doing podcasts, then that added a new element as well, because now that is accessible also on the website.
Right.
There's a glass bead course. The first videos that you and I did were the ones teaching acrylic 3D art, and that's all on there. People can watch that for free and access all the podcasts. There are a lot of different things on there, but it's constantly evolving, and who knows what new things we have for the future. It's something that has to be maintained, and that I think is the difference now than it was years ago. You can spot when you search and look at different websites online whether or not they're up to date.
Totally. Now, let's talk the interaction between your social media and your website, because they serve 2 different purposes. They're both very important for your business to gain notoriety, to get new eyeballs to look at your work. So how does social media interact with the website?
I am on a lot of different social medias. I like to combine the two between Pinterest and Instagram. So Instagram is the one I spend most of my time on, and then next is Pinterest. I've made over the last probably month ago, and talking to different artists and people about, I am on TikTok and I am on Facebook, but I do not maintain those very well. And because of that, I don't have a lot of followers on either one. So what I've done is created a post with my logo and my information, and I have my link to Instagram. So I have that up on my Facebook pages. I have 2 business pages on Facebook and then also on TikTok, encouraging people to follow me over on Instagram. The thing that I'm noticing about listening to other artists and podcasts is that a lot of artists are going off of Instagram just because of some of the algorithm changes that have happened. And you see a lot of people, myself included, trying to generate or beat, if you will, the algorithm so that we can direct more traffic to our individual Instagram. And the Instagram is important, and I enjoy actually doing Instagram, but it also can be very time consuming. And because I'm trying to also brand myself, so I usually have to post every single day. And sometimes that can be really exhausting. And I don't just like to post to just post. I want it to be meaningful. I want it to be something that's important to me, that I genuinely want to share with other people. I want it to have that special meaning and content. But the reality is, and why some artists are deciding to quit the platform, is because you don't have control over any social media. It could be shut down at any time, and you literally had spent years and collecting video content and pictures, and all that could just be ended overnight. And so that's where the website comes in as so important, because you have 100% control over your website. And it is up, it gives you validity, it gives you a professional appearance online. So those things, having that website. But for now, I love Instagram. I'm still on there. But I get a lot of wonderful clientele and other designers that I work with that come through on Instagram. So I appreciate that. And it's a great way to connect with people from all over the world and learn about different artwork and things. I'm very inspired by nature. And so I love seeing just the whole world scene and things, visit places that I'm not visiting in person. And I find that inspiring. So for now, yes, still doing Instagram and Pinterest.
No, we're not on Pinterest yet.
Yeah.
We've just started scratching the surface of using Instagram and leveraging Instagram. So we're going to concentrate on that first. And once we get a following on that, then we'll start reaching out across some other platforms. But I do see value in Pinterest, especially for artists. It's a great way to get some of your work into curated lists and people's awareness, right? It sounds to me like you're really leveraging social media to drive people to the website more than anything else, right?
I actually, so this, what was it? A few days ago, I did do a sponsored ad. And when you do the sponsored ad on Instagram, you can choose your audiences where you want the traffic to be driven. And I wanted the traffic to be driven to my website, because that's where they can see a lot more information. Unless somebody goes to my link tree, which I feel like sometimes people forget that link tree is even on your Instagram. I think you can do $5 a day if you want, run it. It'll say like for $5 a day, you can reach like 2,000 more people. And I ended up having 50 some people visit the website.
It's interesting. You're using Pinterest to direct people to Instagram, Facebook to direct people to Instagram, and then you're using Instagram to direct people to your website. It's an important thing to recognize. That's how it has to work. You don't want to spread out your attention across many platforms where people are getting in touch to you directly. You want to really curate their experience and how they interact with you as carefully as you can. Something else that you mentioned is also very important to understand, is that you don't control your presence on Instagram. Ultimately, Instagram controls you, right?
Yes.
And so that makes it even more important to have a website, because that's something that you are 100% in control of. And there's nobody can do anything about your SEO efforts on your website. So if you have a web developer, or you're savvy enough yourself to create search engine optimization strategies that help you, nobody can overrun that. So there's no algorithm that you need to try to outsmart. There's nothing happening other than your own value and your own ability to populate your website with useful things. So it truly is very important to get that up and running as fast as possible. So let's talk about real quickly, what's the first step in getting your website up and running? How do you find a good website developer or designer?
For me, it has to do with relationships. It's my relationship with a designer, and her husband is a web designer. And so one day she just asked me about how my website was looking, just letting me know that he was developing websites, and put that in the back of my mind, because I'm like, oh, my website's fine. And I would say probably about 2 years down the road, I discovered that there were some wrong things about my website. And I think what sometimes, at least what happened with me, I have the website built, and it would just sit there, like I said, and I just forget that it was there, not really giving it much attention. But when I think it's very wise to take different moments in time, and I do this now, is to Google my own website and work go through everything I can click on and make sure everything works and nothing's broken and makes sense. The wording all makes sense, spelled right, and all that. I started looking at my old website, and there were a lot of things I didn't like, and I was horrified, actually. That's how, it was presented to the public. And so decided it's worth every penny, honestly, to spend. I never regret any of the money I've spent on having a professional website. It's just made all the difference in the world. And as far as social media, I get invites now for Whom Chat. Are you
no, I haven't even heard of that one.
There will always be. There was Facebook for a long time, and it was the only thing out there. And Facebook actually dominates. They have the most amount of followers. Maybe because they're all older ones. It still dominates with the most amount of people on. There'll be all these other ones that will change with time, but I think it's important to be open-minded and willing to make the changes as things progress.
It's important to make sure that you're on the platforms that resonate best for you personally, because then you're going to be more apt to engage with it. Because even if you have somebody managing your social media for you, it's still up to you to engage with the people that are commenting or reaching out and DMing. No manager that you hire is going to be able to properly address every single person that reaches out to you. You're going to, at some point, have to reach out to them. So it's important that you're comfortable with the platform, that you like to use it, and that you enjoy that interaction. So going back to the website, I think there are so many good designers out there that are able to create a proper website and who will do a good job for you. So you have to, like, the person or the entity that's doing the website design for you, you have to really feel good about them. You have to enjoy engaging with them, because if you don't, it's not going to reflect well when the website goes live.
Yeah, I think that's true. That you really do have to develop a relationship with them, because you're going to be spending some time with them for sure. And when you're searching, talk to other professionals who they use, look at their websites and see what they think. And I think it's good to reach out to other professionals and do some investigating and get their thoughts on their own web designer, if it's a right fit for you.
I think it's so important that you are comfortable with that person. There's the expertise, there's the design, there's the technical aspect. There's a lot of things that have to go into a website. You need to go equipped with questions when you're talking to somebody about developing the website for you. Are they familiar with your particular type of art? If not, how open are they to learning about it? Because that's really important.
It is.
And so you definitely want to find somebody who's not just experienced and technically knowledgeable, but they also are able to grasp the particular nuances and facets of the artwork that you do. I think it would be important for them to demonstrate some kind of interest in the arts.
Yeah.
And of course, like I mentioned, the technical aspects of it. As artists, we don't always appreciate the technical need for things like search engine optimization of the user experience. Whoever you work with in that arena, you want to put extra emphasis on the user experience and make sure that it's reflective of the way that you want your visitors to experience your work and you as a brand.
I agree. And that ultimately should be your number one goal with the website, is that it's about your customer experience and what they get from it the most. This last month, I've had 3 different clients comment about how much they like the website. And that makes me very happy. I have another person that's helping me a little bit behind the scenes on some things with advertising. And she's been critiquing good suggestions that I hadn't seen. Thus, one of the changes in our color, too, that we recently did. I appreciate that, too. Yeah, just so many good things to have one, 100%. If it's not in your budget right now, save the money and get one.
You would recommend him. What is his business again?
Council Media. COUNCIL. Council Media.
Council Media. Of course, I would be remiss not to mention that my company also does web design. So I would definitely encourage people to check out both Jimmy's business and our business. There's more than enough websites to go around. So you can check out Jimmy, or you can reach out to me, Scott, at reinventionstudiolab.com. If you'd like to learn more about our website design and marketing services. And yeah, just go out there, sell your art, and get that website going.
Absolutely.
And if people want to contact you, Shiree, to learn more about an art business, how do they contact you?
Go to ShireeNicole.com. It's ShireeNichole.com.
Don't forget the H.
That's right.
All right, guys. Rock on.